Video opens on a rapid, scratchy animation. A figure sits at a long dinner table. The other chairs are filled with distorted, smiling mannequins. The figure's own face is a blank porcelain mask. A crack appears on it. The sound of a record scratch cuts through a faint, looping track of forced laughter. Narrator. You ever get that feeling? That cold dread that pulls in your gut hours before the key turns in the lock. The obligatory gathering. The family dinner. You're not afraid of a fight. You're not afraid of the drama. You're afraid of the peace. Because you know it's a lie. A fragile, carefully constructed truce held together with polite questions and shared memories that have been edited for broadcast. And in that room, you become someone else. A carefully curated version of you, a ghost of who you used to be, or maybe who they still need you to be. This isn't just social anxiety. This is a specific kind of psychological warfare, and you're the primary casualty. We call it the ghost at the table. It's the silent agreement to perform, to wear the mask, to keep the peace at the cost of your own soul. But I'm here to tell you that the peace isn't worth keeping. Today, we're not just going to survive the dinner. We're going to burn the whole damn script. This is the final manifesto for finding something real in the wreckage of a family gathering. Title card. Aggressive, stenciled font over a chaotic, ink-splattered dinner table. Title. Finding Happiness in a Family Dinner, the Final Manifesto. A splash of blood orange drips down the screen. Phase 2. The problem, you know the feeling. It starts in the car on the way over. You're rehearsing. Rehearsing answers to questions that haven't been asked yet. A preemptive defense against accusations that are only implied. You feel your spine stiffen, your vocabulary shrinking to a list of approved, non-confrontational words. You walk through the door, and the performance begins. The air is thick with things not being said. It's a museum of past grievances, where everyone walks on tiptoe, careful not to knock anything over. You pass the potatoes, and it feels like a hostage exchange. You smile at a joke you've heard 1,000 times, and the muscles in your face feel like they're being operated by rusty pulleys. Inside your head, it's a different story. It's a war zone. A screaming, unfiltered monologue of everything you wish you could say. Your uncle starts in on his politics, and you're mentally composing a 10-point rebuttal that would scorch the varnish off the table. Your mother makes a backhanded comment about your life choices, wrapped in the cellophane of concern, and you feel a surge of volcanic rage that you have to swallow down with a mouthful of dry turkey. You're living two lives at once. The outer you, the smiling, nodding diplomat. And the inner you, the one chained to a radiator in the basement, rattling the pipes and screaming. Let's make this real. Picture it. Your cousin is droning on about his crypto investments. Everyone is nodding along, pretending to be fascinated by the blockchain. You know it's a pyramid scheme. You know he's going to lose everything. You want to grab him by the collar and shake him. But what do? You say, "Wow, that's really interesting, Kevin." That's the ghost at the table. Every time you let the ghost take the wheel, you give it more power. You're validating the performance. You're teaching yourself that the fake you is more acceptable, more lovable, than the real you. The lie doesn't just stay at the dinner table. It gets in your car. It follows you home. It starts to whisper to you when you're alone. It erodes your sense of self, one polite, gutless smile at a time. The ghost isn't just a role you play, it's a parasite, and it's slowly, methodically, replacing you. Until one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the person looking back. You just see the mask. And you can't remember how to take it off. Visual. A character looks in a bathroom mirror. Their reflection is the blank-faced mannequin from the intro. They try to claw the mask off, but their fingers just scrape against smooth porcelain. Phase 3. The solution. So how do you fight a ghost? How do you exorcise a phantom that everyone else pretends not to see? You don't fight it. You don't reason with it. You smash the damn house it lives in. In the little-known existential play, The Feast of Scraps, the protagonist, Leo, finds himself at the family's annual harvest dinner, a ritual of toxic positivity and repressed trauma. For years, he's been the perfect son, the ghost of success and stability. But on this night, something has broken inside him. He doesn't come to dinner with a plan for rebellion. He comes with a philosophy. a philosophy we call the doctrine of the broken plate. The core idea is this: the source of all suffering at the family dinner is the desperate, collective effort to keep a single, pristine, perfect plate from breaking. The doctrine of the broken plate states that true connection, what you might even call happiness, can only be found after the plate is deliberately and irrevocably shattered. It's about accepting that the family isn't whole. It's a collection of broken people, jagged shards, held together by habit and fear. The solution is not to tiptoe around the cracks. You're protecting your boundaries. You're defending your identity. Forget that. That's weak. In this doctrine, truth is an offensive weapon. It's a scalpel. It's a demolition charge. Its purpose is not to make you feel better. Its purpose is to cut through the layers of bullshit, performance, and polite fiction that have been suffocating everyone for years. When your aunt asks you for the 10th time why you're not married yet, the shield response is a vague excuse. The weapon response is a calm, simple, "I'm not interested in discussing my personal life." It's not an argument. Principle number 2. Embrace the fallout. This is where most people lose their nerve. They tell a small truth, the room gets quiet, someone starts to cry, and they immediately retreat. They apologize. They smooth it over. They try to glue the plate back together. A follower of the doctrine knows that the fallout is not a sign of failure. The fallout is the entire point. The screaming, the accusations, the storm of drama, that is the sound of the prison walls coming down. It's the sound of the pressure being released. You must be willing to sit in that chaos. You must be willing to be the villain in a story that needs one. Your goal is not to win the argument. Your goal is not to have a nice dinner. Your goal is to get to a place of reality. And the road to reality runs straight through bedlam. Visual. An animation of a perfect, porcelain plate. A single, hair-thin crack appears. The narrator's voice continues, and the crack spiders out, faster and faster, until the plate explodes in a cloud of dust and razor-sharp fragments. And principle number 3. Rebuild with the shards. After the storm, there is silence. After the explosion, there is wreckage. This is the most important part. Once the illusion of the perfect family plate is gone, you are left with the reality, a pile of broken pieces. Now, for the first time, you can see everyone for what they are. Not mother, father, brother, but complex, wounded, flawed individuals. And yourself, too. From here, you can see what's worth keeping. Maybe the relationship with your sister, now free from the obligation to pretend, can be rebuilt into something stronger, more honest. A new thing, assembled from the shards. Think of it like kintsugi, the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery with gold. The philosophy is that the breaks are part of the object's history. Maybe some relationships were only ever held together by the lie, and without it, they dissolve. So be it. You had to be willing to lose everything to find out what was actually real. The doctrine of the broken plate isn't a path to a happy family dinner. It's a path through the disastrous family dinner, to whatever genuine connections might be salvaged on the other side. Phase 4. The application. So much for philosophy. How do we make this real? How do you walk into that minefield and not get blown to pieces? You don't. You walk in, and you become the detonator. But you do it with surgical precision. This is a practical guide. 5 steps to deploying the doctrine of the broken plate without starting a world war you can't finish. Step 1. Conduct the role autopsy. Before you even leave the house, sit down with a pen and paper. This is non-negotiable. At the top of the page, write down the name of the ghost you are expected to be. Is it the unproblematic one? The family screw-up? The high achiever? Give the role a name. Now, below that, write a list. How does playing this role make you feel? Don't use intellectual words. Use gut words. Hollow, brittle, constricted, fraudulent, exhausted, invisible. This exercise isn't about self-pity. It's about creating a conscious, deliberate separation between you, the person, and the role, the performance. You are objectifying the mask. When you are at the table, and you feel that hollow sensation starting, you can now name it. Ah, there it is. That's the unproblematic one taking over. This awareness is your first line of defense. It creates a space between the stimulus and your reaction. Step 2. Identify your one true thing. Do not go into this dinner planning to be a flamethrower of authenticity. You will burn out and fail. Your task is to be a scalpel. You must choose one. One single, specific, undeniable truth that you will not compromise on. Just one. It doesn't have to be a massive family secret. It can be small. In fact, small is better. It's a stress test for the system. Your one true thing could be, I will not pretend to be interested in my brother-in-law's golf game. It could be, if my mother criticizes my apartment, I will say, I like it, and change the subject. Or it could be something bigger. If my father uses a homophobic slur, I will get up and leave the table. Decide on your one true thing beforehand. Write it down. This is your anchor. This is the single crack you are going to introduce to the plate. The rest of the time, you can be a ghost if you need to. But on this one point, you will be real. Step 3. Practice the art of the question. The family system maintains its balance through unspoken rules and loaded statements. Are you still working at that place? Is not a question. It's a judgment disguised as a question. The expected response is for you to get defensive, to justify yourself, to play the game. Do not play. Use conversational judo. Flip the energy back on them with a simple, neutral question. When they ask, are you still working at that place? You do not defend. You ask, calmly, what do you mean by that place? When they say, you look tired, you do not say, I've been busy. You ask, why do you say that? This is a pattern interrupt. It breaks their script. It forces them, just for a second, to examine the subtext of their own words. They expect a fight or a submission. You are giving them neither. You are giving them a mirror. Most people will falter. They will be forced to either admit what they really mean, or retreat. Either way, you have disrupted the performance. Step 4. Master the strategic silence. After you've stated your one true thing, or asked your disarming question, the most powerful tool you have is to do nothing. Say nothing. We are terrified of silence. We rush to fill it because it feels awkward, hostile. But in this context, silence is a weapon. It is a space. It is a vacuum. When you say, I don't agree with that, and silence falls, let it fall. Let it get heavy. Let it become uncomfortable. Count to 10 in your head. The person who is most uncomfortable with the truth you just laid on the table will be the first to break the silence. And what they say next will be far more honest than their initial scripted line. Let them squirm. Let them show you who they are. The silence is your territory. Own it. Step 5. Define your exit strategy. This is not a war you are trying to win. This is an act of liberation. And true liberation means you have the freedom to leave. Before you go, you must define your exit strategy. And it cannot be based on time. It must be based on a condition. An internal condition. Your exit strategy might be, if I start to feel that dissociative, out-of-body, ghost, sensation for more than 5 minutes, I will politely excuse myself and go home. Or, if anyone raises their voice at me, I will leave. This is your emergency brake. Until you choose not to be. This act of defining your own terms, even if only to yourself, is a radical reclamation of power. You are putting the ghost on notice. Its shift is over when you say it is. Visual. A series of stark, black and white animated diagrams. A brain being separated from a puppet. A single red line being drawn through a list of talking points. A boomerang turning back on its thrower. A sound wave going completely flat. A figure calmly walking out of a door that has appeared in the middle of a chaotic room. Phase 5. The proof. Does this actually work? Or is it just a recipe for becoming an orphan? Let's go back to the feast of scraps. Leo doesn't throw a tantrum. He doesn't flip the table. He deploys the doctrine with chilling precision. It begins when his father, a blustering patriarch, gives his annual toast to family and tradition. At the end, when everyone raises their glass, Leo doesn't. He keeps his glass on the table. That is his one true thing. His father asks, "Son, is something wrong?" Leo waits. He lets the silence hang for a full 10 seconds. Then he says, "I can't toast to a tradition of pretending." Chaos. The fallout begins. His mother tries to smooth it over. A passive-aggressive flurry of, "Leo, don't be dramatic. Leo uses the art of the question. Mother, what about my statement do you believe is dramatic? She has no answer. The plate cracks further. His brother attacks, calling him selfish. Leo doesn't defend. He just looks at his brother and says, "This isn't about you." More silence. The dinner collapses. It is a catastrophe. People leave in tears. The night is an objective failure by every conventional metric. But the play doesn't end there. The epilogue takes place 3 weeks later. Leo is having coffee with his sister. The conversation is stilted, awkward. She tells him she was furious with him. He tells her he understands. For the first time, they are not playing their roles of successful older brother and rebellious younger sister. They're just two people, navigating a difficult new reality. She says, "Dad's not speaking to you." Leo nods. "I know. It's quieter now," she says. "The house. It's horrible. But it's honest. That is the proof. The goal wasn't a happy dinner. The happiness is the quiet, difficult, honest coffee that happens weeks later. The happiness is the discovery that at least one of his relationships was strong enough to survive the truth. He rebuilt with the shards. This isn't just fiction. This mirrors a core principle of developmental psychology, the concept of rupture and repair. Psychologists who study attachment have found that the healthiest, most resilient relationships are not the ones that never have conflict. That's a fantasy. The healthiest relationships are the ones that experience ruptures, fights, disagreements, moments of disconnection, and then successfully repair them. The act of surviving a conflict and coming back together reinforces trust and deepens the bond. The typical family dinner is a system organized around the frantic avoidance of rupture. It creates a brittle, shallow connection that can be shattered by a single honest word. The doctrine of the broken plate is a strategy for forcing the rupture, for testing the connection to see if it's real, to see if it's capable of repair. The logic is inescapable. A structure built on a lie is inherently unstable. It requires constant, exhausting maintenance. Introducing a single, hard fact is like pulling one Jenga block from the bottom of the tower. The resulting collapse isn't your fault. You didn't create the instability. You just revealed it. You are not an arsonist. You are a building inspector, condemning a structure that was about to collapse on top of everyone anyway. Phase 6. The call to action. The ghost at the table feeds on silence and conformity. The first step to exorcising it is to drag it out into the light and give it a name. So that's your mission. In the comments below, I want you to name your ghost. That's how the revolution begins. And if you're done with the performance, if you're ready to start smashing plates and seeing what's real, then this is your tribe. This is the Manifesto. Hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more illusions to shatter. Finally, breaking the family script is one thing. But what about the script that's running inside your own head? The lies you tell yourself are the most dangerous of all. To deconstruct that, you need to understand your own internal tyrant. The next logical step is to watch our video, The Tyranny of the Inner Critic. How to silence your own secret police. It's the second front in this war for reality. Click the link on the screen. The session is now in session. Now go pick a fight. Or better yet, go finish one. Outro music. A raw, driving punk rock track kicks in.